next thing that we have to look at is we have to make sure that we have our business foundations on point. And so I'm going to invite to join us up on the stage, Cami, and she is a master coach, guys. You know, everybody that I'm bringing to share with you today, these are all outstanding leaders. They have so much to share. And she's going to hop up now and she's going to talk to us about why we need to lay a solid foundation in our business and how to do that. Cami.
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. I'll tell you, I just took this spot just yesterday. And so this was new, me taking this spot. I had to fill in for someone. And so as I was listening, or as I was prepping this morning and last night, thinking about what I wanted to bring to you guys, I really tuned in. So I played with Darla's source, right? I played with the source of this, what is meant to be flowing through to you guys. And what was so super cool was as I was listening to everybody's talks this morning, and it's like it's all interrelated. We're all bringing all the right pieces together and how they all fit together, and how do we really show up and do our businesses differently, because I think business has changed for us. And if I think about this whole last year, this journey that we've been on coming through this year, one of the things that I have really learned was how important it is to really step back, take care of ourselves first, and then show up in the gifts of who we are and really make a difference with the gifts of who we are and serve our communities. And that's what, I think we're all being called to do. So I'm going to pop up my PowerPoint here. And I'm going to be talking about raising up the vibration. And it means the vibration of our business, of our marketing, of how we're showing up. And this is an important part of this success, is paying attention to what we've been moving through, what we've been maneuvering through, and then elevating our vibration so that we can really be in this space of supporting our communities and our tribes. So let me get the chat box up too so I can see it. So I see that the future I see. So I'm Candi Guildner. I'm a business coach. I believe that women's voices matter. I believe that we are being called to step up and do things differently, to do things to be different. And our world is really needing us. I think that our voices matter. Our voices matter. Women's voices matter. And that's going to be the shift that's going to be taking us. We've been coming through this really difficult year. And where we're going is like we've been coming through this portal, right? We've been coming through this portal that's going to open up into this beautiful new space of doing business in a different way. And guess what, ladies? We are leading the way. It's so exciting to me that it means that things are going to be done differently. And it does mean that we have to, when we're looking at how we raise up our businesses, we have to look at how we're showing up in our voice. We have to look at how we're showing up in the business and the strategy and the visibility of how we are being visible in a virtual world and beyond. And even more importantly, across all of these is what I call the R factor, how we resonate in the world. So how we are resonating is such an intricate part of our business. And we heard that this morning, right? We heard about the importance of our voice. We heard about the importance of our vision and the visibility. And we heard from Drew on how our mindset, how we are resonating is really going to be an intricate part of this. So the journey before us is going to be different, right? Our world has changed. Our world is different. And it's time that we start to look at it through a different lens. And that means that women's wisdom, is the medicine that our earth really needs right now. I truly believe that with all of my heart. This is what's going to transform how we show up in business, how we show up in our teachings, how we show up in the gifts of who we are as women. And what happens is there's this beautiful ripple effect of impact that we create together when we start to step up into the gifts of who we are. And when I think about that, I have fallen in love with the potential of women and how they're going to make a difference in our world. It excites me so much what's going to come from a different way of running businesses, a different way of showing up and serving our communities, of growing our companies, of putting our voice out in the world. It's all a different way. And when we start looking at us showing up in different ways, that's what changes our earth. That's what shifts everything in our world. So it starts with a different way of marketing. And this is a high vibe marketing. And this gets rid of the bro marketing tactics that we've seen so often. We've been taught it. People have say, this is the way you grow your business, is with different, very pushy kind of approaches to marketing. And I'm going to invite you all to start to do marketing in a different way. So talking about marketing or business fundamentals, this marketing in a different way, marketing from the inside out. And I'll touch base on this in just a moment. But if we really are tuned into who we are, this essence of who we are, Robin talked about it this morning in the authenticity of who we are, right? This being true to who we are. And when we start from that space, people start to connect with us in a different level. People fall in love with our souls, not our faces. And when we start to do high vibe marketing, there's no such thing as competition. We're throwing the competition out the door. We are starting to show up in different ways because no one can be who you are. You are unique in who you are, and you get to show up and as you. And then you start looking at things from a collaborative perspective versus a competitive perspective. And that is so powerful, my friends. And this is one of the ones that I like to get on a big soap stand, is stop the pain-based scarcity marketing. There's so much of this, and this is the old way of doing marketing, right? Instead, we're shifting the lens and we're starting to talk about, guess what? We've talked about this morning, our desires, our clients' desires, the desires of what the people who we are working with, if we're tapping into their desires, and I'll give you a great tool on how to really tap into their desires instead of the pain base, the scarcity, making people feel less than, because people already feel less than. We want to help them. We want to create this expansive space. We're going to throw out the formulas because there's no such thing as a magic formula to marketing. Marketing comes from the inside out. You build your marketing from who you are, showing up in your voice, in your visibility, and that starts to put you out into the space that you are really growing in. And you're saying no to the hustle. This is the slowing down that Drew was talking about, right? Paying attention to and changing those channels that we are in. So people fall in love with our souls, not our faces. And it starts with this essence of who you are, this brand of who you are. You start with your strengths, your passions, your values. You get to the essence of who you are, and then you move into the essence of your brand. When you start to show up, when you were looking at Robin's pictures this morning, you could feel the essence of who she was, and you could feel the authenticity of who she is. And that's where you start to show up in a different way. You start to own a space that no one else can own. So powerful when you do that. Number 2 is starting to speak aspirational marketing, speaking your client's love language. And this is a big shift that I think is really intricate for all of us. It's essential for all of us to take. And if you start to think about this past year, where your clients have been, what conversations they're having right now, they're having a different conversation than they were a year ago, right? As we were stepping into this whole year has transformed who we are as individuals. And so what's the conversations your ideal clients are having right now? And to get to this aspirational marketing, you have to know your niche, your avatar, all that sort of thing. I'm not going to go into that. You guys know that kind of information. And you have to understand the pains, the things that are keeping them up at night and the emotions associated with it. You have to understand it. You can't not understand that to do good marketing. However, The language that you use in your marketing is really comes from the space of what do they aspire to? What are they desiring? And if you start to think about what your clients are desiring and aspiring to right now in the conversations that they're having, it will shift how you talk to your clients. They're going to start seeing, and what this does is it gets, if you think about the energetic of marketing, if you're over here and you're talking about is what keeps them awake at night and what, kind of those low vibe emotions that they might be feeling, if that's what you're focused on, what's the energy of that marketing, right? It's pulling them down. It's making them feel less than. It's not helping them see expansively. And if you get over into this, what they aspire to, what they desire, that's where it starts to get really expansive. And they start to go, oh my gosh, I'm seeing more possibilities for myself than I was seeing before. I am seeing the expansion in where I'm going and what I'm doing. This is the kind of marketing you want to be gifting to your clients. You want to be lifting your clients up, not pulling them down. So this is really important. And I've got this in a workbook. I'm happy to share with any of you. And when we do the breakout sessions, I will actually drop it into the breakout session on this one. But this is a tool that you can use. And once you get this information, you can come back to it time and time and time again. Every time you're doing something in marketing, it's going to help you do that in a different level. Number 3 is if the whole world could hear one message from you, what would it be? This is how you start to transform this vibration. And I want you to think about this for a moment. There's so much noise out on social media, and there's like pretty memes, and there's all kinds of things that are out there that aren't delivering value and opinion. And what I'm going to invite you to do in this world of virtual, especially right now, is what if you were really leveling up how you had a message that was really powerful, that had an opinion, that you were putting a stake in the ground, and you were helping people see, think, and do different ways of showing up. This is what I'm going to invite you to do, is really to get a message that is powerful from you. I'll give you a couple. Brene Brown, you know what Brene Brown stands for, right? She stands for courage and bravery. We know that about her. There's something every time you see her speak, this is what she's doing. She's taking us on this journey. When you think of Gabby Bernstein is one of my favorite people. And it's about really allowing the universe to do her thing, to show up for us. This is the soulful side of things, right? This is where the magic starts to take place. This is what Darla was talking about this morning, is we're transforming into a different way of being. We know that's what Gabby stands for. Oprah, right? She helps us really see things, what you focus on, what expands. I was so honored to get to go see Oprah last year, and right before all of the pandemic took place. And it's like we start to understand what people stand for. Melinda Gates, really empowering women. We've got Malala, one child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. We know what these women stand for. This is mine. Women's wisdom is the medicine our earth needs. When we get into the space of knowing what we stand for, then we can start to change the conversations we're having people, and we become a leader in our space. So if the whole world could hear one message from you, what would it be? I want you to think about, find your core message, and then all of your marketing around that, all of your messaging, you really can build a content strategy around that. But if you know that core message, you can build your stories around it. You can build your approaches to the conversations that you have. And that's how you really start to shift things. So number 4, to raising up your energy of how you vibrate, or how your business is. Let me start that one over again. Number 4 is on how you change the way you resonate in your business, is you really look at how you resonate. And this is the energy of you. And I actually call this your R factor. And the R factor is comprised of multiple pieces. We've got our mindset. We've talked about mindset this morning. That's really thinking about what are the channels that we're building and that we're choosing. What are the channels that we're choosing to keep our mindset in? Are we choosing positive, or are we going down a rabbit hole with our mindset? And doing practices on a daily basis around that. The second one is around our body somatics, and that means that we're paying attention to how our body feels, the emotions that we're holding in our body, the emotions that we have in our bodies. And that means that we take care of our bodies, whether it's nourishing our bodies in the right way, it's moving our bodies, or it's our energetic space of our bodies. All of that matters in how we resonate. And then we've got our spirit alignment. And I say spirit however you spirit. But really what that's tying you into is your purpose. It's tying you into this alignment of who you are. And when we're attached to source, when we're attached to the spirit wisdom within us, we can show up on a very high vibrational modality. And then the fourth part of this is your community, right? And Davia has built this already for you guys. It's like you've got this beautiful community that you are a part of. And when you are lifting each other up, these four factors around this circle are what really helps you resonate on a high vibrational modality. And when I think about, and Drew said this earlier, I think it's, he said about we can have all the right pieces in place. When you can have all the right branding and marketing and packaging and pricing and visibility, all of that in place. But if we're not taking care of how we resonate, this energetic space of who we are, we can get stuck. And I know this because I've been there, right? I've been, it's like we put all these pieces in place, and if we have these self-doubts, if we have these fears, if we have these things that start to slow us down, then our energy of who we are, we get smaller, and we come in, we get closer into the energetic space of who we are, versus getting expansive, where we can be showing up in the gifts of who we are. So how do you resonate? Think about that. How are you resonating on a day-to-day basis? I love this vibrational emotional scale, and it's from the law of attraction. And I heard somebody even mention this earlier this morning on, when we were doing just the summaries of some of the different talks this morning, what they were catching from it. And, we can be in these low vibrational energies of, say, we can be in bitterness or guilt or judgment or any of these kind of low vibrational energies. Or we can be in high vibrational energies where we're feeling joyful and abundant and happy. And starting to be able to put language to this and checking in with yourself on a regular basis can be so powerful and knowing that we can't be at the high vibe level all the time, but we can recognize where we are and we can choose differently. We can choose how we want to move up this scale. And I'll give you an example. So feel into the energy that you're feeling today. What do you notice? What are your high energy activities that you spend time on? What are those activities that make you feel really vibrant and, alive, that really alive feeling? And what are those low vibe energies, right? Sometimes, we can catch ourselves in those, like watching, too many, going into a binge watching of something on television, right? I mean, we all have our little things that we might step into. So what are your low vibe energies? And even more importantly, how do you feel in your business? Let's just think about some of these things. When you're delivering your core message or around your purpose, how do you feel? Do you feel pretty high vibe? Does that make you feel good, right? That's where you want to be, is you want to be in this high vibrational place. How about when you're working on your finances? How do you feel? Is it a low vibe or is it a high vibe energy? Are you excited about it? If you're feeling low vibe in that finances, that's an opportunity to notice it and to shift it. In a sales conversation, if you're showing up in a sales conversation and you're like all up into the energy of, oh my gosh, are they going to do this? You're going to open into that sales conversation in a different energy. doing your marketing, if you're approaching marketing in a way that is, you're like, oh God, I don't want to do this today. Have you ever approached, oh, I have to write this? Have you ever approached it and gone, oh, I don't really want to do this? How do you think the energy of that marketing comes through? So what you really need to look at is where are your pitfalls that you might fall into, and how might you increase those? Gabby Bernstein has a great thing. I love Gabby. You notice the thought, you forgive the thought, you notice it, you write it down, then you forgive the thought, and you celebrate that you have this desire to shift. You're going to thank those negative feelings and thoughts for showing up. And you're going to say, guess what? I'm going to choose again. I'm feeling really low vibe about this email that I need to write. Okay, let's notice it. Let's thank the thought. And then let's change that and let's choose differently. What about, how could this email impact somebody? How might it make somebody do something and do some, transform what's going on in their life? Then it becomes, there's high vibration associated with that. So this is a really important thing. Apply this in your business. Look for this. Notice the thought. How does this thought make you feel? Really look for the things that you want to shift in your business so that you can start to look at it from a different perspective. How am I doing on time, Davia? I'm about ready to stop. Okay, so there's your R factor. I'm going to close with one thing really quick here. Oh, here's my workbook. You guys can email me, Cami@CamiGuildner.com. And I'll give you that workbook that will help you really do your marketing in a different way. But I want you to think about, I talk about raise up. So R is how you resonate. So really pay attention to how you resonate. A is aspirational. That means approach your marketing in an aspirational way. I is from the inside out. Build your marketing, your brand from the inside out. No one else can own it just like you. S is soulful. Find that soul, tune into it, listen to that inner wisdom that is within you. E is elevate your message. Get your message out in a way that's powerful, that's transformational, that gets people thinking differently. U is Ubuntu. And Ubuntu means community. It means coming together in community, showing up together, being in community and leveling up together. And P is possibility. So really think through what's possible in your business, and that's where the most expansiveness comes. So with that, I'm gonna stop, and thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for having me, Davia.
Awesome. I want to really acknowledge the things that you have shared with us, because from a business building point of view, it's perhaps a different way of looking at it, but I so love this kind of approach. This resonates with me. This feels good. This feels right. I want us to continue this conversation about building our business foundations, but probably looking at it a different way. And so I want to invite our panelists. And Cami, I would like for you to stay on camera. Sylvia, if you can hop on, Deborah, Liz, and Candi, because all of you have some very, very outstanding approaches to the way that we are doing our businesses. So I want to invite you. Why don't we start with Sylvia? Sylvia, who are you, and what it is it that you're doing in the world?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Sylvia Guinan. So happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to be speaking to these wonderful women. I'm a financial advisor, and my practice is with Wells Fargo Advisors. And my mission is to work with women. I just want to help women elevate. I think in line with what Cami said, I think the finances is something we feel a lot of sometimes fear around, right? So how do we embrace that? And to me, it's really not so much about like where we were in the past, but it's where we're going today. And I had done a series of talks to my clients, and they were called conversations. And I find it very interesting that as women, we talk about everything with our girlfriends. We talk about, you know, our spirituality, our makeup, our hair, you know, our injections, whatever it is that we do, our beauty stuff that we do. That finance is like a no. You know, it's a very isolating thing, I think, for women. And my whole passion is about bringing a sense of clarity on where we stand today, you know, a sense of confidence that we're going to be okay. And we can, even if we haven't started yet, we can start now. And a sense of control that we do have the ability and we don't need to count on anyone else to write our future.
Wonderful. And Deborah, would you share with everybody who you are and what it is that you do?
Sure, sure. I'm Deborah Daniel. I've been doing this entrepreneurial journey for, this is literally 29 years. It's kind of crazy. But I am all about helping people make more, keep more, and grow more money. It's the flow of money that keeps all this, everything going. And I do think there's so much more to life than money, but the reality is money impacts everything that's important. So if we don't have the money piece put together, we can't do, I mean, all the other stuff can't be done, right? I mean, I can't spend money on myself, taking care of me or taking care of the people around me if I don't have the money. And I loved what Cami said about getting rid of the marketing formula, but I do think there is a business formula that we need to follow. I mean, the reality is you bring more money in, less money goes out. I mean, and being strategic about that really is an important part of business. Everything is about ROI as far as I'm concerned. And return on investment isn't just making more money. It's building relationships like we're doing today. It's about, you know, pouring into yourself and developing yourself as a better person. It's about figuring out how to have more time. It's figuring out how to keep your health where it needs to be. But everything you do, like the time you're spending today, you should be evaluating, and I certainly feel like it's been that way, that this is a good return on investment of my time. Because the reality is, whether you're working with Sylvia or me or anybody on your money, you can make more money, but you can't get any more time back. So I hope that some of the pearls of wisdom that we throw out today will make you feel like you had a good use of time today.
Beautiful. And trust me, it is a good use of time. Anything that's going to be raising our vibrations has to be a good use of time. Liz, the sales whisperer, shall we learn about who you are and what it is that you do?
Yes, thank you for having me. So I'm Liz Dederer, for those of you who don't know me. My company is, I know, right? Shocking. Uh, my company is Selling with Service. I run the sales school for entrepreneurs, one of the fastest growing training programs to help women in service-based businesses. And just like Sylvia and Deborah shared so brilliantly about keeping the money, I joke with my clients that I'll help you make it and then we'll go shopping. So I'll help you make it and then I'll send you over to Sylvia and Deb to help you hold on to it. But it is, you know, we talk about money and we talk about the importance of it, and we can never have enough reminders as to that. And money's the result. And where I focus is really having that conversation with another human being to help you solve a problem for them. And in exchange for that currency of energy, they give you money so that you can buy back more of your time. It's crazy how that happens. Just, I mean, mind blowing, right? So we think about money and we focus on money, and what you focus on does expand. And money doesn't just come from the ethers, right? It comes from a conversation with another human being and doing something of value for them, period. And that's my jam. And then we'll go shopping. Next.
Thank you, Liz. Candi, please. I'm so, so happy to see you here today. And I just want everybody to know that Candi is like my little sister. I so adore her. Everybody, welcome to the Candi Show. Candi, can you share with everybody who you are and what it is that you do in the world?
I can, and I'm so excited because being the oldest sibling in my family, I've always wanted an older sister, and I feel today we have so many just sisters on this amazing tribe. So hello everybody, my name is Candi Sterling. I am a personal brand strategist, and the name of my business is On Her Mission. And what I really focus on is just helping women use personal brand strategy to attract the opportunities and to attract the things that they want in life. building your business, attracting the clients that you want, getting really specific and focused. And just and I have to say this, today from all of the speakers, the overall theme that I'm really catching, that's really speaking to me, that I have to share, is just a general way of being, and a general way of being that just fosters your success every single season. And so for me, that's sort of the essence of what I believe personal branding to be. And that just really was so captured so well when you're talking about, building a foundation and really showing up. And so that's my passion and what I do. And I'm also a beauty pageant competitor, which is a challenging yet exciting activity. The platforms and the opportunity to do a lot of service work really speak to me. So that is something that is aligned with my brand and showing up. So that's it. That's it.
Wonderful. So, ladies, I'm going to ask you one at a time to just share with me how, and with, of course, our wonderful audience, how does what you do support us in being a success in any season? And Cami, let's have you go first.
Well, I think what I do really helps people step into this gift of who they are, this brand of, find their brand that's truly authentically them, and then find a voice and how they're meant to make a difference with that voice. So by doing that, when we step into this very authentic being of who we are, I believe that every single one of us is on this earth right now for a reason. We've been put in this time at this, in the world that we're in to make an impact with the gifts of who we are. And when we start to show up like that and start to really create the difference that we're meant to create, each person, it becomes a ripple effect, right? And that's the change that we're moving through. That's the change that our world is moving through. And the very fact that we were born into this time means that we have an impact that we're meant to make. And so when you really get clear about your impact and how you're meant to matter, that's where the change and the transformation takes place in our world. And it's truly just by being us, by shining a light on that fire that's inside of us, and really letting that fire of us come out into the world so we can be visible, we can show up, and the transformation that takes place around that is just really incredibly powerful.
I love that. And I want to give you guys a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, just a little sneak peek. So, our theme for our fall summit, which is going to be on October 18th, is actually Be the Beacon. And it just speaks to that whole idea of having that ripple effect in the world, actually taking that opportunity to shine your light, because this is not a drill, guys. We're here to do a thing, and it's the time. It's now. So let's get started. Sylvia, can you share with us how what you do supports us being a success in any season?
Yeah, from my perspective, I think when we talk about our finances as women, when it's not the money that motivates us as much as what that money can and can't do for us. And, are we going to be able to take care of ourselves? Are we going to be able to take care of our children? So I think I support women again by giving a sense of clarity, by gathering what they already have, putting it into a financial plan. And a lot of times people think, oh gosh, I can't talk to my financial advisor about wanting to go shopping with Liz because I can't spend money. And the beauty of having the money is really, to me, giving clients the freedom that, this is what you've earned. This is what we need to save, but this is the money that you have available to enjoy. And I want you to enjoy it, because I think, again, we work so hard and so many times there's guilt around spending and we think we should be saving. So it's, again, bringing that clarity, bringing that sense of confidence. And then, really helping people, I think sometimes, somebody said at one time, you can't eat an entire steak in one bite, right? You have to cut it up into pieces. And so many times we're so fearful that I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to retire. I don't know if I can do this. And I think, again, it's putting all the nice pieces together and empowering women and showing them that, yes, by taking steps every day, we can get to those goals and get you that lifestyle that you really want for yourself and for your family.
I love that, Sylvia. And one coach said one time, and I thought it was hilarious, and I won't use the language he used, but basically said that, we like to take the thought that money is unspiritual, but actually money is a magnifier. And money brings to the fore what your true personality is. And if you were, let's say, not such a nice person, then money is only going to amplify that. And if you're an amazing, heart centered, soul centered person, then having money is going to allow you to do more of that work in the world as well, and buy new shoes on a shopping spree with Liz. So it all works out, I think. I think having the correct sort of guidance, and the people that I think are super helpful for that and that I invited to hop on today, Sylvia and Deborah, definitely here to help guide us through that. Deb, why don't you tell us how you support us in being a success in any season?
Sure, sure. I mean, it goes back to my core messaging, which is basically making more, keeping more, and growing more money. And the way I think about that is the making more is the money that's the stuff that's going. We had a bucket and we were just pouring it in, right? And so those are, there's a million different ways that we can price our business. The way that we can offer our services. And if you need help with actually, once we figure out what those are selling, then that would be the Liz part of how do we actually get that out there. But first, what is our revenue, right? So we're bringing it into the bucket. Then we've got, how do we keep it in the bucket, closing the holes? And the reality is taxes and your housing are two of the biggest ones. So let's focus on those, right? And then growing your money is now, how do I then make the bucket either bigger or make more of the buckets, right? So anywhere in that life cycle of money is how I can jump in and help. And right now, obviously, it's tax season, so everybody's got that really at the top of their mind. And, we just had in the middle of tax season, the tax law change. It's affecting 2020, which is just insane. But the reality is, if you spend, if you work with someone, be it me or somebody else, and the same revenue, that same bucket now is fuller because we didn't pour out a bunch of money in taxes that we didn't need to, or other, systems and strategies that we can put in place that keeps the money in the bucket, you're not killing yourself to go find the next customer so much because there's more of what you already had there, right? And so that's really what I try to focus on is I want everybody to live in our passion and in our purpose. But the reality is you can't do that if you can't keep your lights on, right? I mean, good people making good money do good things. And so if I can help you make more or keep more or grow that, then I feel like that's how I'm supporting all of us be successful.
I think that's amazing. And Liz, I know how you support us, but why don't you share with everybody else?
I think the best thing I heard from you was, among other things, but you called me a conversation catalyst, and I reference that in like every conversation I have, podcasts or Clubhouse or any sort of stage that I'm on. I'm like, one of the best things a client ever called me was a conversation catalyst, and that just to me is everything, because everything that I do to help women really have success in any season. I'm getting kickback from somewhere. Have success in any season.
Uh-oh.
Not me. That's one way to end my kickback, is to shut me up. Really, to have success in any season is to speak your value and own your worth. And I just shared a little pro tip that somebody shared with me a couple weeks ago about Zoom. And I know for me, when I'm on camera, I'm like constantly fussing with my hair and all this other stuff. And you can hide your self view. So you don't have to look at yourself and fuss with your hair. You can be more present and look at everyone else. Because when we are on stage, back when the world opens up and we can go places, see people and do things, we're not looking at ourselves, fussing with ourselves. We're looking at everyone else, being present for them, totally forgetting about anything going on with us. And that's really the biggest way that you can have success in any season, is to bring your whole self forward, present for others. And the way that you do that is by listening. And when I first started doing this little Zoom trick, my listening ears perked up, I would say like 80%. And I was like, oh my God, that's why Zoom has been so draining for me, is because I'm so consumed with myself. And that's sales energy. My company is named Selling with Service for a couple reasons, but one of which is because when you're in service energy, you're focusing on the other person. You're not making it about you, and you can be more present. So I'll share three quick tips to write down. A client, I was going to do like a 10-minute lunch and learn one day, and I was working with two clients, and I was like, I got to do this lunch and learn. I can't do anything in 10 minutes. They were like, all right. So I said, what would you say that I said? They said that the three biggest things are: how to have a successful conversation. The formula for that is 80, 15, 5. So these are writer downers. Forgot to preface it with that. I see some of you nodding because some of you know this. Yeah, 80, 15, 5. This is the magic. 80% of any conversation is the other person speaking, you listening. 80% of any sales conversation, any conversation, right? 15% of any conversation is you asking questions. We get so worried about what am I going to say? How am I going to introduce myself? Blah, blah, blah. You only ever have to be relevant to the person in front of you. That's it. And if they're speaking and telling you more about themselves, you know exactly how to fill in that blank. And if you don't know, ask some more questions. 15% of the conversation. Only 5% of any given conversation is where I say permission to speak freely is granted. And that's you speaking in full sentences. That's tip number 1, is a 3-part tip. Tip number 2 is that you want to always book a something from a something. Whatever it is that you're doing with someone, it's never a dead-end street. How can you really have success in any season if you're constantly having to get new people and build new relationships? I know so many of you here because I'm in it for the long game. You're in it for the long game. We're building long-term relationships. That's how you can have success in any season, is not by constantly having to reintroduce yourself. Yeah, it's cool to be, the new kid on the block, and I'm in Florida, so I'm like totally leveraging that, coming in as the new kid on the block. Everyone in Florida is the new kid on the block, so it's like not as cool as it sounds. Everyone's a transplant. But you want to come in and you build new relationships. And that way, when you need something, you have people that you can go to that know, like, and trust you. And the third thing I would say is ask. Ladies, increase your ask. A real simple formula I use for this is because I'm a nurturer, I'm an over-deliverer. I know 95% of us are too. The 5% was permission to speak freely is granted, full sentences. That's where you can talk in a conversation. Everything else is questions if it's leaving your mouth. So the last thing I want to say is my mind just totally went blank. Come on, Liz, you can do this. We were talking about
Ask.
Thank you.
Ask.
Thank you. So the formula I have that protects myself from myself, because other people listening to what I'm saying so that I can remember, but it's give, ask. We're not the type of people to just come out of the gate and just say, I need this, can you? Like, there's nothing wrong with that for sure. And I also know it's really hard to go from nurturing into receiving. So a way that you can segue yourself into that energy so that you have success in any season as you're building the relationships, the know, like, trust factor, you have another call on the calendar, even if it's 3 months out, even if it's a mental note 3 months out, just to circle back and check in or whatever. Give, ask. I'm telling you, it works every single time. And that's how you can speak your value and own your worth so that you can have more money after we go shopping. Consignment, by the way, total consignment junkie. So like everything's a negotiation to me. And then you take all that money and you invest it and keep track of it. That's all I have to say about that. Like, it's not all I have to say about that, but I'll stop now.
Awesome. And of course, before we head off into our breakout rooms, I would just like for Candi to share with us what it is that you help us to do to be a success in any season in our businesses.
Absolutely. So I love what Robin shared earlier about just giving yourself that time to do that work and to really show up and live your brand. I thought that was just so brilliant. And that really captures the work that I do through sessions, through private sessions and through courses. But for me, it's really about clarity and starting from that place of clarity. I'm a big planner, big planning geek. I've always been ever since I was a child. Always had a million different notebooks and things. And so I believe really deeply that if you can see it, you can build it. And so that's why that clarity piece is so key. And that's why vision is so key, and really taking that time to get very detailed. I actually wanted to share this really quickly. I have a vision box because the boards are just so limiting, and I put little pearls on it because I like girly things. But it enables me to categorize and really write out and get more specific, because the more specific you are on the vision, the more specific you're going to be able to position yourself and create alignment in your life to make that happen. And so that's one of the key ways and one of the entry points into that personal branding process, because it's a journey, it's a self journey, it's very closely aligned with personal development and really showing up. And so that's a little bit of a sneak peek at how it works.
Thank you so much, ladies. So we are all so blessed today to have these 5 wonderful ladies sharing with us. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to go into breakout rooms. Everybody has been assigned, and you will have as your moderator in your breakout room one of these 5 fantastic females. Alliteration, guys. Get to know it. It's awesome.